Huge update for you guys today. The Predator has just leveled up. We got brand new updates for the Chart Trader panel that are going to make your life a lot easier. There are also major improvements to the auto position size and the manual entry lines. We revamped and added extra features for our custom signal system to make automating third-party signals a breeze. And yes, please guys, stop requesting this. We finally added this to the Predator. ATMs are finally here. So you can finally quit asking if it's possible, because the answer is now yes. For those who are new here, the Predator is a multi-purpose order entry and management tool that lets you fully or semi-automate your trading with a bunch of different features. We have a full user guide of how this works on our website, and also a free trial if you wanted to check it out on our Discord. But I don't want to waste too much time on a long intro. We have a lot to cover for this update. So in this video, I'm going to just touch on the main points. I'm not going to go too in depth with everything. I do want to make specific videos for each section in order to get our user guide up to date as well, and so we can maintain focus for each specific section. So again, this video is going to be just the main talking points of this new update. But with that, let's go over our first thing. To get started, there are two things existing members need to keep in mind when switching over to this version number 3. In this version, we got rid of a lot of redundancies within the code to make it a bit more efficient and make sure everything flows properly in order to try and keep things as simple as possible. But unfortunately, what that means is all templates before version number 3 are no longer going to work. So what I recommend, go into your template setting, load, either save all of these before you update to this latest version, or if you know how to rebuild them anyways, you can just simply delete them here, just like so. Or if you want to make it a little bit easier on yourself, if you follow this path on your computer, Documents, NinjaTrader, Templates, Strategy, then the Predator X order entry folder, you can just highlight all of these and delete them in one go. And then once you go back into your templates, they won't be there anymore. Once you do that, I just recommend going back into the templates and then reset it in order to ensure everything is refreshed. Another quick little improvement we made comes with the licensing system. We had some users that were maybe experiencing a little bit of a slower time when you were first enabling the Predator. So we modified a few things to make sure it loads as fast as possible. But with the updated licensing, it means if you're upgrading from an older version before version 3, you're going to have to deactivate and reset your previous license and activate it on the newer versions. But don't worry, it just takes a few seconds. I'm going to run through the process real quick, and then we're going to dive right into the new features. So again, this is just for the lifetime members. If you've never used the Predator before, or you've purchased it after version 3, these steps should not apply. So what we're going to do, if you've just imported the newest version, so that will be the version 3, you'll notice if you go to apply, if you go to enable it, you might get some sort of an error pop-up that your license has been used or an invalid license. Or you might get this box where you type in your own license key. So you just head over to the website under My Account, License and Download. We're going to copy this code. So you might be tempted to just put that in. And then when you go to activate it, again, you'll see your license has been installed on another application. So just make sure you deactivate the license first. And just give it a second. And you'll see that it goes to 0 out of 1. For those with multiple licenses, you'll have to do this for each one. But the majority of you are just using the one license. So once it says 0 out of 1, you will just type this in. And you'll see that it's been successfully activated. And then when you go to enable it, it should load up a lot faster now. And I know some of you may run into an issue where it's still saying an invalid license. Just make sure you come over here, you deactivate this. Again, just wait till it says 0 out of 1. And then before you enable it, go into the strategy properties and scroll all the way down to the reset license. And this is going to ensure that it removes the license fully so you can always type in a new one. So you shouldn't have to do this in most scenarios, but just in case you're still getting that invalid license, just enable that check mark, hit apply, and you'll see your license has been reset. And once you enable it, you'll get this pop up again. And you should be able to just type in your license key. Again, that's your lifetime license key. Activate, and it should start working again. So that's all it is. It's just a bit of an updated licensing to improve the load time. But now let's jump right into the new features. All right, now to get into the actual features, let's talk about our new chart trader panel. In this version, we got rid of that old hybrid, classic, and manual mode. Instead, we opted for collapsible sections. Now, all of the buttons are clearly organized into their specific sections and the roles that they play within the Predator. And yes, guys, I know there's a lot of buttons and the Predator has a lot of functions, but now you should be able to tell what buttons serve what purpose. So if you hear myself or somebody in the Discord talking about a manual entry, you know that we're talking about these buttons up here that are just going to submit manual entries whenever you push them. Or the same thing, if you're going the fully or semi-auto route and we're talking about an auto entry, you know we have to focus in this section. These are the buttons that will help you control your auto entries. And then you also have your order controls. So once you're in a trade, this is what's going to help you scale into a trade. You can move your stop up and down, control it however you want, or even scale out or exit completely. So it should be a little bit easier to distinguish which sections you need. And of course, not every trader is going to use every button. If there's something you don't want to use, you can just simply collapse it, use whatever is going to be helpful for your trading. And yes, these buttons down here are the exact same as the previous versions. Anything you've used in the past, these are going to be the exact same. But now let's turn our attention to our brand new feature, and that is our order management section. And this, I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for. This is going to make a lot of lives so much easier. This part is going to actually let you modify and configure your order without having to go back into the properties every single time. So from down here, you can select any stop loss that you want. So ticks, ATR, very popular, super trend, the high or the low of the previous bars, or we've even added a percentage of the current price. So anything that you want, set your stop loss directly from the panel. Same thing with your trail stop. You have that ATR, high, low, a tick trail, parabolic, whatever you want, you have all of those options. And then you also have the ability to choose how many profit targets you want. So if you want 1 profit target, 2 profit targets, and yes, we've added an extra one so you can have up to 4 separate profit targets. And each one of those, again, fully customizable directly from the chart trader panel. So you don't have to keep going back into the properties, select whatever you want. Here you can select the quantity for each one. And let's just enter long. And it's going to set your stop, profit target, however you want. Then we've also added the order type, and this is how you want to enter an order. I think most people are going to be using market order. This is going to be the most robust for most situations. But if you want to enter with a limit, stop market, stop limit, MIT, whatever you want, the choice is completely up to you. And again, guys, I'm going to make another video that goes into all of this a little bit more. I do want to get some feedback on how you guys like to use these different entries. I know for myself, I mainly always stick to market orders, but I know 100 different traders are going to have 100 different ways to trade these. So if there's something you want to see added, just let me know. I'm going to likely make even more improvements in the future. So yeah, just let me know in the comments what you guys think, what you want to see added. But for now, I'm just going to stick to market. I don't want to take up too much time in this video. There's still a lot of new features we need to go through. But the other thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to order management, and this was a huge one for a lot of people. I know this one I got a lot of feedback on, and it was mainly due to the position size if you had multiple targets present. So in the past, for each profit target that we selected, each target needed a position size of at least 1. So let's say I only have target 1, 2, and 3 selected. Regardless of the auto position size calculation, it would always submit a minimum position size of 3. So this would often result on a much bigger risk size than the user intended, especially if they weren't risking that much per trade. So we listened and we made a lot of adjustments to how this auto quantity works. And now it's going to automatically adjust those targets. So let's add a fourth one just to get an example. So right now we are risking $250 per trade. So here you can see where our stop loss is set and you can see our total risk. It is going to give you a little bit extra room to go a little bit over your risk size. But once you go a little bit too much over, it automatically adjusts that position size. And as we keep going, you'll notice it's taking away your quantity. So let's say right there, we want to set our stop here. 4 targets, we enter long. We have our 4 profit targets just like we defined with the correct position size. But let's say we keep going and bring our stop even farther down. You'll notice now that it starts taking those targets away. So now it's always going to try to maintain that optimal position size and only keep the targets that are going to allow that position size. So here we have 2 targets. Even though we have 4, it's only going to submit those first 2 because if we were to get stopped out, we only want to keep losing around this number. So now using that auto position size is going to be a lot more accurate, but just keep in mind, if your stop distance is that much farther away, you are going to lose some profit targets. But again, I had a lot of feedback on this. Most people agreed that they prefer to maintain that consistent risk per trade. So that's exactly what we did. And guys, that's not all for the auto position size. We also had a lot of requests for an account-based percentage. So if you click this button up here, you can toggle between risking dollars per trade or a percentage of your account. So a value of 1 is 1% of your net liquidation. So again, let's see what that looks like. So if we start moving, you'll notice our total risk size, it's a little bit tight there, but it should actually stay around that $500 mark because it's 1% of our total net liquidation. So if we go a little bit higher than 500, again, it gives you a little bit of wiggle room to risk a little bit more. But once you go a little bit too far, it's going to automatically adjust that position size. So 1% of that. And if we do, let's say 2%, now we have up to $1,000. We can do that because that is 2% of 50,000 is $1,000. And of course, if you wanted to go lower than that, let's do 0.5, then that is $250. So as your account changes, so does your risk per trade. And for the auto quantity, I'm just showing the manual entry lines as an example. This will adjust exactly the same whether you're manual or doing an auto entry as well. So if you're running fully auto, it's going to continuously adjust depending on where your stop is set. This next feature gives the Predator a limitless number of stop loss possibilities. Let me explain. If you have any indicator plot on the chart, the Predator is going to be able to read that plot and set your stop or trail stop based on that value. So here, I'm just using my free open range indicator, and I'm going to look at my stop loss. Here, we just have our generic stop loss options because we just loaded it. We haven't pressed play. There's been no price movement. But as soon as there's that price movement on the chart, it's going to scan for any plots, and it's going to add everything to your stop loss or your trail stop. So now you not only have the built-in Predator options, you now have a full list of any indicator plot, and you can set your stop loss directly on this plot. So for this example, I'm just doing the middle signal. So that is this middle one that just scans the midpoint between the high and the low. So if I push play, and here we're just waiting for that cross below, and let's increase this maybe just a bit. I think that might be a bit too big of a distance. but we're going to increase our risk per trade to $1,000 because our auto quantity is also going to work with these signal plots. So now we're just waiting for that cross below. All right. All right, so we had our cross below, we had our entry signal for the opening range. Our stop loss got automatically set to that midway point, just like we defined in our stop loss. And then we have all of our ATR-based profit targets with the correct position size based on your defined risk per trade. Or of course, if you wanted to do a custom quantity, you're definitely able to do that as well. The point is, you're able to use any plot and integrate it directly with the predator in order to create that perfect strategy. All right, that's cool and all, but I know one question is going to come up, and that is, Dre, what if I have an indicator that has two separate plots and I can't really just select one? So for an example, swing high, swing low, we can select one, but if we want to enter in the opposite direction, then we have to select the other one. It's not going to be very functional. Don't worry, we thought of this as well, and we've added an option so that way you can select an entirely different plot between your longs and your shorts. So how we do that, just head over to these little arrows over here, and they're going to split your stop loss management. So that way for the longs, we can do a swing low, and let's trail with the swing low as well. And for your shorts, this one we can select an entirely different plot. So this time is your swing high. And let's trail with that swing high as well. So that way you can pick and choose whatever direction you're going. So let's run this scenario one more time just to see how that works. And again, we're just waiting for that break. And it should set our stop right at the last swing high. So there we entered. Our stop gets set to that swing high. Again, with the correct position size and the targets that we defined. So these are ATR based. And as the strategy progresses, once we get a new swing high, it should start trailing. All right, here we got our new swing high. You can see our trail stop button automatically activated just because we had that defined. And now anytime we get a new swing high that's moving us into profit, it's going to automatically adjust that stop loss so we can capture as much profit as we can. And we'll just do it one more time. And here it moved automatically again, and we got stopped out. So that's how it works. You can define your stop loss and your trail stop to any plot on the chart, and you can even give it an offset as well. If you want it to go 5 ticks above or below the swing high or low, you're able to do that as well. But now let's move on to our next feature that's going to give us even more options to automate third-party indicators. So as many of you know, with the Predator, we're able to automate third-party signals as long as they have some sort of a clickable draw object signal. And we'll use this Ninja indicator as an example. With the Predator's custom signal system, as long as we copy this tag up to the current bar number, we're able to type that into the Predator and automate our strategy based on these third-party signals. But with this version, we added something else that's going to make automating these signals just a little bit easier. So let's jump into the Predator properties, and we're going to scroll down to our custom signal section. Here, let's select it. And again, you can do this for your entries, exits, or filters. I'm just using a simple entry for this example. We're just going to do one. And now you have the option to choose either the object mode, that's the draw object signal we just saw, or we can select plot mode. And what this is going to do is it's going to take the value of the plot at that time. And based on what we define in here, we're going to be able to automate it as long as that signal matches whatever we defined. For this Ninja indicator, let me open up the data box, and I'm going to go into the indicator itself. So multi-time frame. This will work with any of my free indicators. So even the opening range, we have +1, -1, +2, -2. These are all your signals, and they're all going to be defined under this signal plot down here. Most vendors will make this plot transparent. That way it's not interfering with the rest of your strategies. You will usually find the signal numbers they use. Just make sure you check with the developer. I usually have all of mine posted with the download anyways, but just know most vendors will have something like this. For this example, just because I do get a lot of requests, we're using one of these Ninja indicators. This will work very similar with any of their indicators as well. So I'm just going to color these in just for this example. You don't have to do this part. You can leave them transparent and out of the way. But I just want to make sure we understand what we're looking at and what we need to type in order to automate them. So apply. And if you look at our data box over here, you will notice the signal state and the signal trade. So if you scroll, once you get the one signal right here, the state and the trade go to -1 because this is a short signal. And if you keep scrolling, it's just the state that stays at -1, but the trade goes to 0. What we typically want to do, because we don't want to keep re-entering over and over, we're just going to use the signal trade, the one that triggers when we get our actual signal. So that is the -1. And let's see, we find a long over here. And the complete opposite applies. If we get a long, we get a value of +1. So that is going to be our long condition. Let's go into the predator properties and just make sure for a long entry operator, it's set to equals. Our plot value is set to +1. For a short, again, we're doing equals -1. Now for the tag, this is very similar to how our object signals work, where we have to match the name. But with plots, it's going to be a whole lot easier. You don't have to type in anything right now. Let's just hit apply, hit OK, and we're going to enable. Now let me scroll to the front here. And for this example, just like we had with our stop and our trail, we need to have some sort of a price movement to let the predator load. So once you see your P&L, it should be good to go. Everything should be loaded. Let's just come up to our validation system, and we're going to select the signal that we're using. So let's scroll down, and it was the signal trade. And we're going to do that for both the long and the short. So come over here, and it's going to be the signal trade. So once we have that, that's all that we need. I'm also going to set my stop at the swing, just like we had before. So swing low and swing high. So now whenever we get a long or a short signal, I think we're waiting for all of these. So there we go. We got our Ninja signal. This was a value, again, of -1. So it triggered our short condition. It entered us into a short trade with any management that we defined right within the properties or within the panel. So that's all it is. It's just a way to define the signal without actually needing that draw object property. But as always, just keep in mind that not every indicator is coded the same. Some might not have draw object signals, some might not have plots. Not every vendor out there makes it so their indicators can be automated, but a lot of the main vendors will. So this should work with a large majority of signals. In this version of the Predator, we upgraded our custom signal system. And one of those updates includes the ability to have multiple entry, exit, or filter custom signals. And what this is going to do is it's going to give you the ability to enter on multiple signals. So various indicators give specific entry signals, and you want to take advantage of all of them. You will be able to do that. Same with your exits. If there's a specific exit point, or if there are different exit conditions where you just want to exit the trade, you'll be able to do that through here. Or if you're trying to combine multiple signals, so you only enter once everything is in alignment, you're going to be able to do that with the filter signal system. Now again, this video is already going to take up quite a bit. I do want to do another specific signal video that goes over this in a lot more detail. But in this video, I'm just going to show one quick example of how we might use multiple filter signals to give us one entry when all of our filters are in alignment. So for this example, I'm going to select 2 because I want to use 2 signals. And what I'm going to do is I'm using my opening range indicator and this modified trend magic indicator. And my entry condition is going to be using a simple reversal entry, but I only want to enter when we're underneath the opening range and when our trend magic is red. Or on the opposite direction, I only want to enter long if we're above and our trend magic is also green. So in the past, we'd have to go into Strategy Builder and try and combine both of these signals and just create one filter signal. But now you can just combine both of them. So if both are in alignment, it's going to allow a trade. If only one of them is in the opposite direction or it's off, it's not going to allow any trades. So don't worry, I'm going to show a quick example here. So I'm just switching this to plot mode to make it a little bit easier. And my long filter on is when I go above the upper range. So that is going to be a +1. And to turn off my long filter, I'm just going to turn it off when it crosses back below the upper range. So this one I have designated as -2. And then to turn on my short, so on short value, that is a -1 value. And I'm going to turn it off once it crosses back above. So that is a +2 value. And I have all of these signal plots where you download the indicator, but you can also go into the opening range indicator itself if you're wondering what these numbers mean. So above upper and below lower is a +1 -1. Above lower, below upper, +2 -2. And you also have your midline and any other targets here. But for this example, again, I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. And then for my second filter, that is our trend magic, just choosing plot. So then we go long when it's a +1 value. We turn off our long when it's a -1. Turn on our short, -1. Turn off our short, +1. That's when it goes back to green. So it's just -1, +1 here, -1, +1. And again, with plots, you can select them directly from the chart. So there's no need to type in a tag when you're using plot mode. So all that we need now is just select our reversal entry. So show reversal button, trade reversals, color reversals, just so we get a visual. And that should be all that we need. Let's hit apply and load this on our chart. Now remember, we need a price change in order to load all the plots on the chart. Once your P&L shows up, you should be able to select them. So we're first going with the opening range signal. Let's just select all of those. And then our filter 2, that is our trend magic. So trend magic direction. Now I'm just going to disable and re-enable just to get it refreshing. Here I just refreshed everything, I have it loaded, I'm just going to run it on the playback so we can see how it works as the strategy is running. So here, even though we had the half trend, it was off until we got our second filter, that is the opening range. Once we went below it, you can see our short filter is turned on. So now that means it's only going to allow short trades. So in this case, we just have the reversal up here. So once we get a bearish reversal, that's when it's going to enter our trade with any management we have selected. So here, even though we're still in a bearish trend magic, because we went above the opening range, it turned our filter off. So right now, it's not allowing any trades. We have to wait until we go back below. And with this one, it went below. It happened to be a reversal as well. So it entered us into that trade. Same thing here. We're still below. Our trend magic is still red. Our short filter is still turned on. So it's going to allow those short trades to take place. And again, guys, you can add any P&L limits, time limits, anything else that you want. I'm just showing a quick example. I want to see if we can get a different sample once it goes back above, or if this trend magic turns green. That way we can see a little bit more how it's turning on and how it's turning off. Alright, so here we finally got a green trend magic. Even though we are still below the opening range, because this filter is now in the opposite direction, we are no longer valid for a short. And in order to go long, we would also have to be above the opening range up here. So right now, there are no valid trades. And we'll see if we can get one more signal. All right, so here we just went above and below. Again, we're still waiting for that red trend magic. And here we went below. We got our red trend magic. We are finally eligible for a trade. We're just waiting for a bearish reversal. Here we got green trend magic. It turned it right off. And we're back below with a red trend magic. We got a reversal on this candle. It got us into the trade with, again, any management we have selected. So that's how it works. That's how you can combine multiple signals with the new custom signal system. Again, I'm going to have another video that goes into this a lot more, and I will probably end up cleaning up our validation system, but everything should work pretty much the same as it was in the previous versions. I have a whole user guide on how it works. We're multiplying it by however many signals you want to use. This next one is probably the most requested feature I have gotten since the Predator was created, and that is the ability to add ATM order management. And what ATMs are just your regular NinjaTrader order management system. And these ATMs are a little bit different than what the Predator offers. With the Predator, you have more custom order management. So if you wanted to set stops or trail your stop based on ATR, maybe the low or the high of the previous candles, or just any other custom management, the Predator will let you customize anything like that. But again, many of you guys want to still take advantage of the Predator's automation, but you want to keep it a little bit simpler. Maybe you're just used to using NinjaTrader's ATM. So now we've included this option directly with the Predator. So let's go over how to set that up. The first thing that you need is you need to create an ATM strategy before you enable the Predator. So let's just go to this dropdown. We'll go to custom. And from here, you're going to customize however you want your order to be managed. So do you want it to calculate with ticks, currency, percent, anything that you want? I'm just going to stick with ticks because they're usually easiest to use. So you can set your stop loss. I'm going to do, I don't know, 100 ticks. And then my profit, 100 ticks as well. You can also set a trail stop for your ATM. I'm not going to go over it in this video. I do want to make another specific ATM video that goes into depth. But for this video, I want to keep it as simple as possible so we don't take up too much more of your time. So we have our stop, we have our profit. You can also add more targets. So I'm just going to change these to 200. You can change the quantity. I'll put that at 2. And we'll add one more just for good measure. And this way you'll be able to tell which is target 1, 2, or 3. And ATMs also give you a bunch of other management options. But again, I'm going to make a separate video that's specific for ATMs. For now, I'm just going to save this as a template. And we're just going to name it, yeah, we'll do ATM 1. And guys, you don't have to stick to just one ATM. You can actually create as many as you want, and you'll be able to select them directly through the Predator's panel as your strategy progresses, so you can switch depending on whatever conditions you want. So I'm going to actually make a second template just so we can see the difference. 400, 400, and this one will have 5 targets. And I'm going to save this one as ATM, let's do 5 targets. All right, now that we have all of our ATMs that we need, let's go into the Predator. And within the properties, we're going to scroll down to our O4 order management. And from here, the very first option, you're going to see order management mode. And what this means is, do you want the Predator to manage your trades? That is what we have here. If you've used the Predator, that is likely what you're used to using. Or if you want to activate your ATMs, simply select it from this list. And you're going to see your ATM strategy. You can select any ATM template that we saved from our ATM section. And don't worry, once we enable the Predator, we can also toggle between these, so you don't have to decide now. But for now, I'm just going to pick the first one. And just one thing to keep in mind with ATM, guys, is you're going to be limited to certain functions that are only available with the Predator's management system. I am likely going to update this more in the near future. For me, the whole reason I started with NinjaTrader was for that custom management. So I've never really gotten into ATMs myself. So I'm still learning little bits as I go, but I do have some more updates coming up regarding ATMs. For now, this should give you plenty of options to customize your orders with NinjaTrader's ATM, but just keep in mind some functions may not be available with it. But once we have that, I'm just going to set up my entries. For this one, I'm just doing a plot mode. I'm just using a Ninja indicator, so that's all I need for that. Let's enable this on the chart. And I'm just going to select my plots up here. Once we have everything set up, if you go into your order management section, again, you can toggle how you want to enter the trade, or whatever ATM you created before enabling the Predator, everything will be in here. So let's just speed this up, see if we get some sort of a signal.
Order filled.
Perfect. So here we got our Ninja signal, and it entered with our ATM management. That is target 1, 2, and 3. With whatever quantity we selected. And of course, if you set up a trail stop, everything would work just the same. You also have your break-even options. That's still a thing. You can still move your stop around. Or if you want to exit the trade at any time, you can push the flatten out button, but we just got stopped out. Let's just switch over our ATMs here and see, maybe we'll get another signal. So there we go. We just selected our ATM 5 targets, and then we have our 5 target ATM. So that's how the ATMs work. You just have to set them up before you enable the Predator, but then you'll have access to all of them after you enable it, so you can just toggle whatever suits your needs. And again, if you wanted to move your stop up and down, whatever you need to do, you have all of those options directly from the panel. If you want to flatten your position, just click the button like normal, and the Predator will manage that for you as well. So I think that just about covers all of the main updates. I think I'm going to cut the video here so the video is not too long, but I will have more content in the coming weeks that will dive into this a lot more. And that way the user guide can remain up to date. But in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, let me know on Discord, send me an email, support@tradesaber.com. But I hope you guys found this video useful. As always, take care, enjoy.